I'm Leon White. Given this economically challenging time, I feel compelled to share a testimony. It's about an inspiration that our omnipotent God gave me for being in business and how my obedience to that inspiration activated his miraculous power. He did what was utterly inconceivable for me. But I first have to explain the basis of the experience, which has really reinforced my confidence in God's word more than ever. And stay with me. I think you will appreciate what I share and what God did, which he will do for anyone who obeys him. The basis of my experience is Isaiah 55:11, which teaches that God's word will never return to him void, unequivocally impossible, but it will accomplish what he desires and achieve the purpose for which he sent it. That assures us that when God speaks to our minds by inspiring us to do something, whatever he has on his mind will definitely come to fruition if we dare to obey him. That includes ideas he gives us for inventions that would evolve into prosperous businesses, or other ideas for starting businesses that would also flourish. Remember that in the Old Testament, God's name is Jehovah. Now go with me to the New Testament. Matthew 1:20-23 tells us that the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said that his wife, Mary, would have a child, and that his name would be Emmanuel, which is translated God with us. Given that God's name is Jehovah, I feel justified in saying that Emmanuel could also mean Jehovah with us, because Jesus is the incarnation of Jehovah, who said in the Old Testament that his word will not return to him void. Let's look at one example of Jesus speaking. I'll explain the significance later, and you'll understand its correlation to my testimony and why I'm sharing it. It's Luke 17:12-19. It's the account of 10 leprous men. They asked Jesus to heal them. Although in Matthew chapter 8, Jesus told a leprous man that he would heal him and then did it by touching him, he did not tell the 10 in Luke that he would heal him, and he did not touch either of them. Notice this. Although they put healing on Jesus' mind, he changed the subject by telling them to go show themselves to the priest, which they did not expect to hear. But by Jesus being the incarnation of the Old Testament Jehovah, he knew that if they obeyed, the healing process would take place as they went, because he knew that his word could not return void, just like he said in Isaiah 55:11, before the incarnation. Even though the priest was a different subject, and certainly not what the 10 lepers had on their minds, their obedience accomplished what Jesus had on his mind, their healing. Therefore, Jesus knew that they were healed as they went without seeing them, except for the one that returned to worship him. The significance of that scenario is this. It is proof that we should always obey and not rationalize or procrastinate when God speaks to our minds by inspiring us to do something that has no connection to what we are asking him for. We must understand that principle. He does not owe us explanations or reasons. He is God, accountable to no one. He just wants obedience. And without making faith a subject, obedience is indisputable evidence of faith. Obedience activates his miraculous power, like healing the 10 lepers. The result of obedience will always be the blessings he has on his mind to give because of obedience. Now let's compare the event of the 10 lepers that were healed to Jesus inspiring us or speaking to our minds about inventions that could evolve into businesses or about other ideas for starting businesses. Whichever it is, success is inevitable if we obey, regardless to what our present circumstances are, because his word absolutely cannot return to him void. Otherwise, it will totally invalidate the Bible, which he, the Jehovah of the Old and New Testaments, will not allow to happen. No way possible. Now, my testimony about what happened for me, for my business, which I will never forget. When God inspired me about being in business, I knew that he had my success on his mind. And also because it's for a greater purpose than me, his work, supporting his work financially. The business is my stepping stone to obtaining the finances to develop the beta version and to pursue the patent process for my invention for the internet, and to ultimately start a company that will finance a comprehensive evangelism program, unless the Lord blows the trumpet first. That's the greater purpose, my vision. Click on the links for comprehensive evangelism and about the company. But back to the business. I got to the point of needing the capability to provide my associates with automatic replications of my website. And I knew in the beginning it would be necessary, so it did not take me by surprise. It would have cost me about $5,000 to have that capability. I also knew that in the beginning. But God knew that I did not have $5,000 before he inspired me to start the business, because I had already incurred a major financial loss. I'll very briefly explain why, in hopes that it might prevent someone from making the mistake I made. My loss was the result of me presuming upon God in another business matter, doing what I assumed he would bless. I did not acknowledge God first, so that he could give me directions, as Proverbs 3:5-6 instructs us to do. I consequently brought a financial hardship on myself. I had to deal with it. But I admit, I would at times wish that God just move on somebody or cause somebody to send me $1 million in the mail. Most of all, so that I could pursue the process of making my vision a reality. That hasn't happened. But because God is forgiving and is so merciful, this is what did happen. I see it as a step toward bringing the vision to fruition. A new and revolutionary application for designing websites was released on September 16, 2014. In hindsight, I can say that on the next day, the 17th, it was God that prompted me to log onto Facebook at the exact time an ad with a cartoon image was visible on my timeline or my news feed. No company name, no product name was mentioned, and it had no implication about business. But I felt a strong compulsion to click on the image, which I did, and saw the announcement for something called WordPress Profit Builder. I watched the presentation and was completely astounded, because it was difficult for me to wrap my mind around the fact that I was looking at something that was, as Ephesians 3:20 puts it, exceeding abundantly above all that I could have asked or thought. And no technical skills are necessary to use it. The greatest advantage is what overwhelmed me. And that's an understatement. It was more like a shock. It's this. It precludes me of the necessity of having to spend the $5,000 or even $1 to have my website replicated. I simply save it as a template and email it to my associates. I also send them a video explaining how to personalize it and soon be ready for business. It's so easy to do. I'm not finished. The overall capabilities of WordPress Profit Builder far exceed similar applications I had seen previously, and they were bundled with things I did not want. In addition to that, they are monthly subscriptions, some more than $100. But WordPress Profit Builder was a one-time payment of $47. Just $47, something I could afford. This is what I believe with my total being. Our omnipotent God caused WordPress Profit Builder to be launched at the exact point in time that it was so very desperately needed, and caused me to discover it within 24 hours of being launched. The reason I said 24 hours is, Profit Builder is based in the Pacific time zone. I'm in the Eastern time zone. 3 hours difference. 3 hours ahead. And I went on Facebook in the morning on the 17th, early enough for it to be before start of business in the Pacific time zone, which would make me or make my discovery of WordPress Profit Builder within 24 hours of it being launched on the previous day, the 16th. I would have been just as thankful if I found it a week later. But to find it so soon after being launched, that is more than amazing to me. No spiritual revelation about it, just a point I'm making. But I am thoroughly convinced that God caused me to find WordPress Profit Builder because I obeyed the inspiration He gave me, in spite of the fact that I did not have the $5,000 I knew I would need. It's for that reason I expect God to bless me, and my associates also, to have great success. Because His Word, even when He speaks to us by inspirations, cannot return to Him void. Unequivocally impossible. In the words of the biblical psalmist, David, and I'm getting emotional, but I'm not going to stop the video, and I'm not going to edit it. David said, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for He is good, for His mercy endureth forever." That's my testimony. But bear with me. I have some more I have to sing to you. Lord, thank you. I can't help but be emotional. You don't know my story, just what I'm saying here. But you don't know my story. I'll try to continue. I have to tell you something. If you have an idea or an inspiration for an idea that God gave you for an invention that could evolve into a prosperous business, or an idea for starting a business, I hope that my testimony encourages you to dare to obey him and move forward. Remember this: the 10 leprous men in Luke 17 were healed as they went, not while standing still, not while procrastinating, not while trying to rationalize the significance of going to the priest, which is what they did not expect to hear. They were healed as they went. Even though it's deplorable English, I'll tell you like this: get up and went. Because obeying God is what activates his miraculous power. Just like he did it for me, he will put in place, in succession, the things that you need when you arrive at those junctures, which makes it impossible for you to conceive what you could achieve in just 1 year if you take action now. Obey that inspiration, because his word must accomplish the objective for which he sent it, which is your success. I'll conclude by asking you to do this. Click on the link below to see my website that was designed in WordPress Profit Builder. It has 3 pages. A demonstration and a tutorial for WordPress Profit Builder are on the bottom of the 2nd page. If you like the product I'm marketing, please patronize me. I would be so thankful. If you have entrepreneur DNA, take a close look at the business aspect. I can help you jumpstart your success. If you own a local business, use Profit Builder to advertise it on the internet to increase your sales potential and the probability of expanding your market geographically. A link to purchase Profit Builder is on my website. Until the next time, my dear brother, my dear sister, let's be blessed by praying earnestly for each other.